In the kingdom of Aurea, the monarch and his knights pursue a dragon through the hills. They track the beast to a cave where they witness something that leaves them utterly stunned. The dragon seizes the moment, breathing fire and killing most of the knights in a single blast. Using its tail, the creature captures and slaughters the remaining knights one by one. At last, the dragon approaches the king, who kneels in resignation, awaiting his fate. Centuries later, in a northern land, sisters Floria and Elad gather whatever firewood they can find. As daughters of the local lord, they strive to help their people who suffer from hunger and cold due to the unforgiving winter. More people abandon the town each day, leaving the sisters worried that soon there will be no community left. Unexpectedly, they spot a carriage approaching, an unusual sight in their secluded town. Rushing home, they find their father, Lord Bayford, and stepmother, Lady Bayford, conversing with a nun. The nun declares that Elad will suffice and departs. Lord Bayford informs Elad that Aurea's royal family wants her to marry their prince. Initially, Elad refuses, but her father persuades her, emphasizing that the town will receive enough funds to sustain them for years to come. Subsequently, the family sets sail for Aurea. As they approach their destination, the ship enters a dense fog, and the group becomes frightened by eerie silhouettes in the darkness. However, these figures turn out to be two colossal dragon statues. Upon landing, the family marvels at the land's prosperity and the castle's grandeur. Servants escort them to their chambers, informing them that they will meet the royal family the following day. Elad steps onto the balcony to take in the view and notices a girl her age on another balcony who is quickly ushered away by a maid. That night, unable to sleep, Elad keeps herself occupied by drawing. She then ventures to the balcony for fresh air and observes that the other girl's room is unlit. Elad is also intrigued by the sight of torches in the distance, indicating someone is ascending the mountain in the middle of the night. The next day, Elad's family meets the royals. Queen Isabel instructs Elad to spend time with Prince Henry before the wedding. After some initial unease, Elad and Henry connect and engage in a delightful conversation. When Henry praises Elad's artistic abilities in her letter, she inquires about the torches she saw the previous night. Henry explains that they are part of 3 ancient ceremonies honoring their ancestors, coinciding with the wedding day. Meanwhile, Lord Bayford concludes his discussion with Isabel about the arrangement, appearing visibly distressed. Lady Bayford attempts to check on him, but he snaps, insisting nothing is amiss. Later, Lady Bayford tries to converse with Isabel, who reacts poorly. When Lady Bayford suggests that the families should bond and get along, Isabel states that this is merely a transaction born out of necessity. She requires a princess, and Bayford's land needs funds. Isabel also reminds Bayford that she is a ropemaker's daughter and should not forget her place. Lady Bayford notices Isabel mispronouncing Elad's name and attempts to correct her, but Isabel dismisses it and departs. That evening, a concerned Lady Bayford informs Elad of her suspicions and suggests canceling the wedding. However, before they can discuss further, Lord Bayford intervenes and sends everyone to bed. The following morning, maids assist Elad in preparing for the ceremony. She is given a stunning dress that includes a blunt dagger and a perfume diffuser. The wedding proceeds smoothly, with Henry and Elad exchanging rings, sharing a kiss, and Elad receiving her own crown. After bidding farewell to her family, Elad joins Henry in a carriage. He explains that they will participate in the ancient ceremony on the mountain. They ascend a rocky staircase, and Elad is stunned to find a group of people wearing eerie golden masks, with Isabel dressed as a nun. The queen hands Elad a coin, stating that she will be helping to protect the kingdom, and they enter as Isabel begins to tell a story. When their ancestors arrived on the island, they discovered a dragon living there, the last of its kind. As soon as the humans settled down, the dragon attacked the village. The king gathered his soldiers to fight the beast, but the dragon killed everyone except the king, who had to sacrifice his 3 daughters so the island could be shared. While listening to the story, Elad notices the unsettling stares from everyone and realizes they are crossing a treacherous bridge above a chasm. Isabel explains that they celebrate the king's sacrifice every generation before cutting Henry and Elad's hands, mixing their blood, and covering them with a cloth, declaring Elad officially of royal blood. Elad throws the coin into the chasm, believing the ritual is over. Henry lifts her to carry her across the bridge, but suddenly apologizes and throws her into the chasm. Screaming as she falls, Elad hits several branches before landing in a mud puddle and losing consciousness. Moments later, Elad awakens with bruises on her body. She stands up and cries for help, but no one remains on the bridge. However, her voice rouses the dragon hidden deep within the cave. Elad's desperation turns to fury as she tears off the fancy jewelry and attempts to climb out, only to fall again and sustain another injury. She then notices other jewelry that doesn't belong to her, realizing the royals have been sacrificing girls to the dragon for years. A noise draws Elad's attention to a light inside a cave where she discovers a bird engulfed in flames. She uses dirt to extinguish the fire, but the bird is already dead. Suddenly, a roar echoes through the cave and hundreds of flaming birds emerge, flying above Elad before falling lifeless around her. The small bodies illuminate the cave as Elad searches for an exit, only to freeze when she sees the dragon approaching. Elad hides behind a stalagmite as the dragon speaks, stating that every generation of royalty must pay and that it can smell Elad's royal blood. Realizing the ceremony is a trick to deceive the dragon, Elad runs and screams, entering a tunnel as the dragon breathes fire behind her. The flames enter the tunnel, but Elad finds a safe spot just in time, discovering the burnt body of the girl she saw on the balcony. Hearing the dragons approach, Elad tries to escape through a small hole, but her dress becomes stuck. With the flames drawing nearer, Elad removes the crinoline and runs, hiding in a smaller cavern. However, some fire still reaches her leg, causing her to scream in pain. The dragon hears her but cannot reach her due to the confined space. Once the dragon is gone, Elad remembers the blunt dagger and sharpens it against a rock. She cuts off part of her dress and bandages her wounded leg with the torn fabric. Using the diffuser, she catches a bit of fire to use as a lantern. Exploring the cavern, Elad finds a narrow passage and begins crawling through it. Her dress gets stuck again, and as she pulls herself free, she slides down. Despite trying to hold on, her hands are wounded and tired, causing her to fall once more, extinguishing the fire in the diffuser. Determined to reach the distant light, Elad stands up and uses the wall for support as she walks through the pain. She exits the tunnel, nearly falling off the edge of a cliff, but sees the light on the other side. Removing her wedding ring and throwing it into the abyss, Elad steps back and runs, making a big jump. The other side of the cliff is slippery and Elad struggles to hold on. Fortunately, as she slides down, her belt gets caught on a rock, giving her enough time to take out the dagger and stick it into a crack for support. She uses the dagger to climb the rest of the way, discovering that the light comes from cute glowing slugs. After ensuring the slugs don't bite, Elad tears off her puffy sleeve and places several slugs inside to create a new lantern. Walking further, she finds a small lake but spits out the water upon drinking it as the cave plants give it a disgusting taste. However, she notices dripping ice on the ceiling and stands under it to catch the drops. Suddenly, the ice starts melting faster and a reddish light shines through. Elad opens her eyes to see the dragon breaking through the ice with her fire. She runs as the dragon lands in the tavern and chases her, but Elad enters another tunnel too small for the giant beast. In the small tavern, Elad finds a message on the wall that reads, "Safe here, she cannot reach," signed with the letter V. She discovers the dresses of many girls and their names added throughout the years, including V, which belonged to a girl named Victoria. Elad grieves for them before removing the bandage from her worsening leg wound. She tries to sleep while hugging the lantern. In her sleep, Elad sees the ghosts of the previous sacrifices, suffering in pain, fear, and betrayal. Victoria adds her name to the wall before turning to Elad and saying it's all a lie. Elad wakes up to find slugs on her leg wound. Initially panicking, she removes them, only to discover their slime has healing properties and her leg is now fine. She applies a slug to another major wound and apologizes for underestimating them. With a clearer mind, Elad finds a map on the wall indicating that at least one girl managed to escape. The map instructs her to take the middle fork in the tunnel and follow the crystals and music to the outside. Elad tears off the inconvenient parts of her dress, adds her name to the wall, and takes the middle fork, ignoring the dragon's echoing growls. Eventually, she hears a tune and finds a wall covered in crystals which glow under the sunlight from the nearby exit. She also discovers a crown with a V on it, indicating Victoria's escape. Using fabric from her dress to protect her hands and feet from the sharp crystals, Elad starts climbing with the crown's help. Unbeknownst to her, the dragon watches as a crystal breaks under her hands, causing her to fall. She uses the crown to hold on at the last moment. Hearing the dragon nearby, Elad hurries and reaches the exit, only to find herself on the edge of a high hole in the mountain. Devastated, she falls to her knees and cries. Suddenly, the sound of neighing horses draws her attention to a group of riders approaching the mountain. Elad tries yelling for help, but the dragon flies towards her, covering the hole. She steps back just in time, noticing another message on the wall signed by V, saying, "Not safe." Nearby, she finds a body, indicating that Victoria died there and never escaped. The dragon prepares to breathe fire but stops upon hearing a male voice calling Elod's name. As the dragon flies off to investigate, it's revealed that Lord Bayford has come with 2 knights and a guide to search for Elod. They descend into the cave using ropes and start exploring. Elod uses their voices to navigate her way back. In a new tunnel, she discovers a nest with 3 dead baby dragons, recalling Victoria's words and realizing that Isabel had been lying. The dragon wasn't the last of her kind and hadn't attacked first. A flashback reveals that the king had entered the tavern to kill the baby dragons, and the dragon's attack was an act of revenge. She killed all the knights but told the king that death would be too easy and he should suffer the same way she did. Since then, the royal family has been feeding the dragon 3 women with mixed royal blood to pass them off as royal daughters. Elod finds her father and his men but stays hidden for safety. The dragon appears, grabs a knight, and drops him from a great height, killing him instantly. The guide rides off to hide while the dragon grabs the second knight, crushing him under her paw before interrogating Bayford. He explains that he's there to save his daughter and tries to attack with his sword, but the dragon disarms him with her tail and drops him. As Elod sneaks around, the dragon tells Bayford to call for his daughter. Bayford delivers a heartfelt apology, admitting his mistake, and yells for Elod not to come out. The dragon pushes him down and stabs him through the heart with her claw. Elod cries out and the dragon starts searching for her. Fortunately, the guide makes a noise, distracting the dragon. With the dragon gone, Elod bids farewell to her father, kissing his forehead before he dies. Elod uses the rope left by her father to climb out of the tavern. The dragon finds and kills the guide before pursuing Elod, who climbs fast enough to avoid the flames now covering the entrance. She gets on her father's horse but jumps off moments later to hide under some rocks. The horse continues, tricking the dragon into following and burning it to death. The dragon breathes fire on the clouds, causing a terrible storm to signify the broken deal. At the castle, Isabel notices the storm and orders her knights to kidnap Floria. Lady Bayford tries to intervene but is stabbed in the process. When the fire subsides, Elod emerges from hiding and encounters the wounded Lady Bayford, who had ridden there on horseback. Upon learning what happened, Elod vows to save her sister and takes the horse back to the mountain. Floria is taken to the bridge, but Henry refuses to perform the ritual with a child. Isabel ignores him and uses her own blood, cutting Floria's hand to mix their blood before throwing her into the chasm. When Elod arrives at the bridge, everyone has left and an unconscious Floria has been caught by the dragon, who doesn't kill her yet, intending to bait Elod into coming for her sister. Elod descends back into the tavern using the rope and her previous experience to navigate the path quickly. After consulting the map to find the dragon's lair, Elod arms herself with her father's sword and sets a trap for the dragon using armor and burning rope. As the rope burns out, the armor falls, luring the dragon out of her lair to investigate the noise. Elod sneaks into the lair and wakes Floria, who walks slowly due to a wounded leg. The dragon discovers the trap and returns to the lair, prompting Floria to hide while Elod waits with her sword. Elod tries to explain that they've all been tricked by the queen, but the dragon doesn't believe her and attempts to breathe fire. Elod stabs the dragon's mouth with the sword to redirect the attack but falls off the edge of the lair, receiving burns on her arms and shoulder. While the dragon removes the sword, Elod lands in a lake and swims out as Floria throws another sword to her. The dragon jumps on Elod and stabs her with her claw. Before the dragon can kill her, Elod stabs the beast in the eye with the dagger, causing the dragon to throw her away. Elod grabs the sword and runs towards the dragon, who has trouble seeing with one eye. Elod stabs the dragon in the chest, but it doesn't cause much damage, and the dragon grabs her again. Elod then stabs the dragon's paw, forcing the beast to drop her. Noticing dust bouncing against a curved stalagmite, Elod forms a plan. Standing in front of the stalagmite, Elod tells the dragon to burn her down. The dragon breathes fire, but Elod moves at the last second, causing the fire to bounce off the stalagmite and land on the dragon, finally bringing her down. Elod shows the dragon the scar on her hand, proving that the beast has been killing innocent girls, not royals. The dragon asks Elod to end it, but Elod drops the sword, refusing to continue the cycle of hatred. She gathers slugs and places them on the dragon's body to help her recover. Meanwhile, another wedding is being celebrated at the castle to trick the third girl of this generation. Elod enters the wedding, telling the bride to take her family and run away. She informs the locals that they can also leave if they desire, but only the servants take her seriously and depart. The dragon appears and breathes fire on everyone present, killing Isabel and the entire royal line. As panic ensues, Henry closes his eyes and accepts his punishment, knowing he deserves it. The castle crumbles, but Elod walks away with her head held high. Days later, Elod, Floria, and a recovered Lady Bayford prepare to leave on a ship filled with gold and supplies for their people. They agree to govern their land together, and Elod starts calling Bayford mother instead of stepmother. During the journey home, the dragon flies nearby, and Elod shares a nod of mutual respect with the creature. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.